The drink tequila almost always rings the bell of the same country, Mexico. New Year parties, bright colors, festivities, and the unmistakable hum of mariachi music playing in the background. But behind every cocktail or shot, there's a tale that begins in the hills of Jalisco, where the blue agave plant grows under the flaming sun. The tequila city itself is magical, with its pebblestone alleys and centuries-old customs. Anyone curious about this spirit's journey from field to bottle? Before we dive in, let's have a little bit of a fun conversation about your preferences in tequila. Neat and sipped slowly in a traditional margarita with salt and lime, aged and smooth in an añejo. The blue agave thrives in the highlands near Tequila in red volcanic soil. These mighty, spiky plants need plenty of time to grow. 7 to 9 years is common before they can be harvested. Folks who live there say the plant gets its personality from the soil, which sends minerals sinking deep into the roots. That flavor remains in the end distillate. Once harvested, the heart, called the piña, of each agave resembles a large pineapple. The sweetness within these cores is what makes drinking any fine tequila worthwhile. It is challenging to harvest agave. The skilled field workers, called gimadores, use a sharp tool known as a coa to remove the spiny leaves. A single gimador can cut through 100 piñas in one day. Each piña weighs between 60 and 90 kilos. This work is tough under the hot sun in Mexico, but it remains one of the most important and respected jobs in tequila production. If they weren't so precise and dedicated, the entire process could lose the magic that makes real tequila special. The piñas are loaded onto trucks and taken to the distillery after being picked. This is where their journey to becoming tequila begins. The process at Casa San Matias, one of Jalisco's most famous producers, follows methods that have been used for hundreds of years. Workers chop up the piñas and place them in large brick ovens. They bake there for almost 2 days, and the smell of the earth lingers in the air. The slow steam roasting breaks down the tough fibers and releases the natural sugars, which will turn into alcohol through fermentation. Do you like stories like this? Sign up to get more in-depth looks at food, drink, and culture sent right to your inbox. After cooking, the sweet piñas are crushed to extract the juice. Some distilleries still use the tahona method, where a large stone wheel slowly rolls over the agave and squeezes out all the liquid. Others use roller mills, which can handle larger batches. Casa San Matias is proud to maintain both traditions, balancing modern efficiency with artisanal heritage. The extracted juice, called agua miel or honey water, flows into fermentation tanks. This is where the sweet syrup turns into a strong liquid. Tequila starts to get its personality during fermentation. At Casa San Matias, wooden vats are used, which lets natural yeasts do their thing in the open air. The sugars turn into alcohol over the course of 3 days, and the flavors start to come out in layers. Some batches taste more like fruit, while others taste more like flowers. The final taste depends on a lot of things, like how old the agave is and what the weather was like when it was fermented. This step feels almost alive, like the spirit is breathing and changing before it changes again. Fermentation starts the process, and distillation finishes it. Mosto, the fermented liquid, is moved into copper stills. By heating and condensing the alcohol, the impurities separate from it, leaving behind a clean and tasty distillate. Tequila is usually distilled twice. The first one takes out the basic spirit and separates the heads, hearts, and tails. The second distillation makes the heart sharper, which makes the tequila smoother and more polished. The clear spirit that comes out is called blanco, which is the purest form of tequila and is known for its raw agave flavor. But not all tequila stays white. A lot of it will be aged in oak barrels, where the wood and time will change the spirit into something richer. Reposado sits for at least 2 months, but usually longer. During this time, it gets a golden color and a sweet, mellow flavor. Añejo ages for at least a year, during which time it picks up deep caramel and spice flavors. The extra añejo, which is the best of the best, can age for more than 3 years, and sometimes even 6. The tequila inside gets different personalities from the French and American oak barrels that are used. The bottling line at Casa San Matias is where old and new come together. There are two lines that run next to each other. One is for artisanal runs, where small batch tequilas are carefully finished by hand. The other can make up to 12,000 bottles per hour. There is a smooth rhythm between the labels, corks, and glass. There is an undeniable sense of family in the business, even at this size. Workers aren't just workers. They're keepers of a cultural legacy that spreads Mexico's national spirit around the world. Not only is the process different at Casa San Matias, but the distillery also has a warm feeling. People who come here often say that going inside feels less like a factory tour and more like being with family. Carmen Villarreal has been leading the distillery with both passion and respect since the late 1990s. She is one of the few women in charge of a tequila company. Every sip shows how dedicated she is to mixing old and new ideas. The company has embraced both authenticity and modern reach under her leadership. Tasting tequila and people don't forget the taste of tequila. Drinking a freshly distilled Blanco at 110 proof is a fiery introduction, but it really shows off the agave's true flavor. When you compare that to a reposado or añejo, the difference is clear. The spirit gets softer, more complex, and shows hidden layers. Each style has a mood, whether it's for a lively party or a quiet moment of thought. When you taste them next to each other, you realize that tequila isn't just a one-dimensional party drink, it's a complex, versatile spirit. There is a rhythm of work and patience behind every bottle. The liquid in your glass comes from years of growing, days of roasting, hours of fermentation, and careful distillation. Tequila is more than just a process, it also shows where it came from. The soil in the highlands, the Jimador's blade, the fire in the oven, and the oak in the barrel all leave their mark. There is never a tequila that is exactly the same. Each one tells a story about the land and people who made it, so every sip is a story. People who visit tequila often leave with more than just bottles. They leave with a better understanding of the drink's craft and culture. Walking on the cobblestones, hearing the hissing of ovens, and breathing in the sweet smell of agave all make a lasting memory. Not only will you learn how tequila is made, but you'll also see how traditions live on in the modern world. That mix of old and new is what makes the spirit timeless and loved all over the world. So the next time you get a glass of tequila, stop and think before you drink. Think about how long it took for that agave to grow, how many people picked it, and how much care went into every step of making it. Tequila isn't just distilled alcohol, it's Mexico in a bottle. It has the strength of its people, the wealth of its land, and the art of many generations. When you drink tequila, you're drinking a mix of history, culture, and skill. The story of tequila doesn't end at the distillery. Once it's in bottles, it goes far beyond Jalisco and ends up on shelves in bars all over the world. The atmosphere is what really sets drinking tequila in Mexico apart from anywhere else. People in tequila never rush their drinks. People in the area enjoy it slowly, taking in the smell before the taste, and letting the warmth spread instead of throwing it back. That ritual shows respect for the craft and serves as a reminder that tequila should be treated with the same respect as fine wine. In Mexico, bars often serve tequila with sangrita, a spicy, sweet tomato-based drink that brings out the drink's complexity. People who are used to lime and salt will find it surprising. Sangrita isn't meant to hide the taste of tequila. It's meant to bring out its citrus and earthy notes. This combination brings out the cultural side of drinking. Tequila is social and based on talking, laughing, and making connections. When you drink tequila like the locals do, you're taking part in something that goes beyond the drink itself. There are also rituals that show how important tequila is to Mexican culture. There are often parades, dances, and mariachi bands at festivals in Jalisco, and tequila flows as freely as the music. But it's not just about having fun. Many families have been making tequila for generations, passing it down like a sacred craft. People respect the knowledge of when to harvest, how to roast, and how long to wait for the food to age. These customs make sure that tequila stays a cultural treasure and not just a product. So the next time you swirl tequila in your glass, Stop and think about how long it took, how many hands worked in the fields, and how much skill went into making each bottle. Tequila is more than just a drink. It's a part of Mexico's soul that people all over the world can enjoy. Now tell us, are you ready to drink tequila with a little more respect for the craft? Do you like love stories like this? Sign up to keep learning about the world's most interesting food and drink customs.